One of the most surprising decisions the Saints made on Tuesday when they were getting down to 53-man roster was getting rid of linebacker Jaylon Smith. Well, less than 24 hours later, he's back in New Orleans. Let's talk about it here on the Straight Up Saints podcast.
You're listening to the Straight Up Saints podcast.
What is up, Who Dat Nation? Welcome back inside another edition of the Straight Up Saints podcast. I'm your host, Chris Vogel, and as always, this program is brought to you by Scott Ficknair, injury lawyers. If you've been injured in any kind of accident, car, truck, 18-wheeler, or hurt offshore, Scott Ficknair handles it all. You can give him a call at 504-500-1111 for a free consultation. They'll always fight for the win. So I said it at the top, Jaylon Smith, back in New Orleans. The Saints adding him to the practice squad was reported first by Jordan Schultz, who's been all over this Jaylon Smith news, was over it when he signed with the Saints initially, was on it when he got released, and then today, this afternoon, breaking the news that he's joining the practice squad, which I think is great news for New Orleans because I genuinely think at some point this year, Jaylon Smith is going to play snaps for the Saints. And that doesn't mean someone's going to get hurt. I just think that his energy, his ability to be a useful linebacker on first and second down will be vital to the Saints at some point. And I think over the years, you've had guys on the practice squad get called up and have certain roles on game days. Wouldn't surprise me if Jaylon Smith is one of them. Now, Jaylon Smith is not the only, I don't want to say fan favorite, but a guy that fans wanted to see back in New Orleans who's joining the practice squad. We have Shaq Davis, rookie wide receiver, played really well in the preseason, but the wide receiver room, not only was it really deep, there's already a lot of proven commodities there. So it was tough for the Saints to really keep him on the 53, especially when he probably wouldn't have a defined role this year, because I still think he needs to develop a little bit more to his game outside of being a really good contested catcher, which he is, and I give him credit for that. But I think he could use a little bit more time on the practice squad. Just think about what Lucas Kroll's done for his career. Not that he's had a big breakout moment in the NFL, but if we take this preseason as opposed to last preseason, he's looked a lot better. So the practice squad will absolutely help Shaq Davis's development. So I'm glad to hear that he's back in New Orleans. I thought he was a guy that was vying for a spot on the 53-man roster. So to see him on the practice squad, definitely a thumbs up for the Saints. Now, as of this recording, there's only been there's 10 names on the practice squad. You get a total of 16. So there's going to be 6 other guys who will be signed. Any major ones, we'll have it covered for you here on the Straight Up Saints podcast. But here are the other 8, in addition to Shaq Davis and Jaylon Smith, that are on the practice squad. Anthony Orji, Jonathan Abram, former first-round pick of the Raiders, Anthony Johnson, Ty Summers, Jack Heflin, Jontre Kirkland, who I thought also deserved a shot here. He was great on special teams, also a pretty solid receiver in his own right during the preseason. You also have Jordan Mims, a former Fresno State running back, actually college teammates with Jake Haener. Final year of college football in 2022, over 1,300 rushing yards, 18 rushing touchdowns. Really, really productive. Makes sense to add another running back to this room because Alvin's suspended. You got 2 right now on the roster. If you didn't want to bring back Darrell Williams, if you're not sure about Ellis Merriweather and bringing him back to the practice squad, getting a guy like Jordan Mims, I think this is a nice move for the Saints. And then Kyle Phillips. So that's going to round out the practice squad for now. Like I said before, though, they got 16 spots. 10 have been used according to multiple reports. So we'll see how this all pans out over the next couple of hours, but the Saints should have their practice squad finalized by today, which is awesome news. And so far, I would say thumbs up. Now, there's other names you want to hear about, maybe Nico Lalos, maybe Lucas Kroll, maybe Lynn Bowden. Those are kind of guys who have been on the radar, but they have not been added yet as of this recording, so we'll see what happens. On the other side of things, guys who've been claimed, only one member of the New Orleans Saints who was waived, got claimed off waivers, and that's Calvin Throckmorton. He's going to stay in the NFC South, going to the Carolina Panthers. But we'll see how the next couple of hours transpire. But I'd say the Saints are doing a pretty fine job on practice squad and adding a couple guys who could maybe play a role on special teams, maybe here and there on defense with a guy like Jaylon Smith for this upcoming season. But I want to know what you guys think. Who's the one player that you're really excited about getting added to the practice squad? And on the flip side, who's someone you'd like to see added to the practice squad in the coming hours? Let me know in the comment section below. And as always, stay tuned for more content here on the Straight Up Saints podcast, the destination for the Who Dat Nation.